There's one sentence a teacher once told me that I still remember word for word. Looks like someone doesn't want to do well in his studies anymore. That was my economics teacher handing me back my Mock 1 results. On the report sat a grade that I had genuinely never expected to have seen for this subject. It was a C. It wasn't the line that made me angry, no. It made me confused. Because in my mind, everything was still the same. I was still doing the same things, still studying the same way, but something had changed. So I went around asking my friends the same question for the next couple of weeks. Does it look like something has changed between me and econ? Like I was talking about a breakup, generally so weird looking back. But this question is what led me to an answer. And this answer showed me a pattern. It wasn't just one teacher. Different teachers, different subjects, all saying the same thing in different words. You are overconfident, Abrar. Over and over and over again. And when you notice the different teachers who don't really talk to each other are saying the same things in different words, you know that this is something that you can't shy away from. It's not just one bad day or one harsh teacher. It's a pattern, and that pattern is data. So one night, I did something that I do whenever I feel overwhelmed. I opened a blank Notion page and went on dumping every bit of frustration unfiltered onto that page. And the next day, I spoke to my dad. He didn't go on to tell me, study harder. He asked me something really annoying. He asked me, do you think that you're studying effectively, or are you just studying a lot? Now, these both are very different things, and I genuinely did not have an answer. A few days later, I promise I'm not just exaggerating this for the sake of the story, but a video seemed to appear on my feed as I was scrolling. This was a video of a man who was explaining the science behind revision techniques. It was Ali Abdal. Until then, every single revision video that I'd watched seemed to just say the same things in different words. Just study more. Just focus when you're studying. But this was different. It was citing actual research, the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve, active recall, spaced repetition. And something in me went, this guy knows what he's talking about. And this video sent me down a rabbit hole. I didn't just pick up one new tip, but I decided to rebuild my entire system from the ground up because of one quote from that video that still stuck with me. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. I wasn't lacking ambition. My goals were clear, but my system was broken. So, here's exactly what changed. Not some vague bit of 4 bullet points of advice, but my actual system that I used. I had a massive problem solved without really realizing it. For the entire year, I'd been making my notes chapter by chapter. So the first step was really simple. It was about converting this existing notes into flashcards using the Notion toggle feature so that I could actually actively retrieve the information. So luckily for me, revision wasn't exactly starting from zero. I made a decision which I think mattered more than anything else in this list. I decided I was never going to lose a mark again in the multiple choice questions paper. So I did paper after paper. And this wasn't the most important bit. It was what I did after this that really went on to change my game. I tracked every single score obsessively. Every single mistake I made, I put it into this document which I call the Mistakes Journal. In this journal, I had every single mistake that I made with the topic. And when you can look at your mistakes in one page, you can destroy them. Now, here's the part that most people don't expect. For the long answers paper or the structured writing paper, I actually didn't do those many practice papers. I focused on understanding the structure of the answers. And every single answer that I did write, I took it straight to my teacher. Now remember this equation. The quality of feedback loop is always greater than the quantity of attempts loop for your long structured answers papers. For all of the raw definitions and core economic concepts, I leaned in hard on active recall and spaced repetition. These things I learned from the same Ali Abdal rabbit hole. This is what let me actually focus on my weak zones rather than just sit, chill, and reread my notes, which would have been completely ineffective. If I have to be completely honest with you, none of the 4 things that I told you would actually work without this last one. Every single week, I was checking in with myself. What worked? What didn't work so much? And what can I change the next week? A system isn't built once and left after that. A system is built, it's tested, it's broken, and it's rebuilt constantly. The actual secret is iteration. Not the flashcards, not the fancy spreadsheet, but the ability to keep adapting over and over and over again. A few months after having sat in that room hearing, looks like someone doesn't want to do well in his studies anymore, I went on to get an A star in my economics exam and top my country for it. But honestly, the grade isn't the point of this video. Because if I had started saying, I got an A star in economics, here are some tips, you would probably forget them by tomorrow. What I want you to take from this video is the sentence that started all of it. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. If you're in the same phase as me, wondering why your efforts aren't translating into results, remember, it's not an efforts problem. It's a systems problem. And that is fixable. This is the part that actually excites me. Because this means that the entire problem is completely under your control. This channel started as just one for GCSE economics lessons. But I do believe that it's becoming something bigger. It's becoming a place for ambitious students to learn how to learn how to think, and to learn how to build systems that actually work for them. Not just memorize content for some exam. If that's something you're also trying to figure out, this is exactly the place that you should be in.